Coming up on Torrance Today, community members gather at the Veterans Memorial Wall to remember those we lost. Want to do more to honor our local heroes? We'll show you how. And if you just want to spend some time at home today remembering all of those who serve our country, full replays of the 61st Annual Armed Forces Day Concert and Parade are now available. All this and more coming up right now on Torrance Today. Welcome to Torrance Today. I'm Christine Lee. It's 4 p.m. on Memorial Day, May 29th. Thank you for spending a part of your holiday with us. Here's our first story. Every year, the Torrance Historical Society brings the community together on this day at the Veterans Memorial Wall to remember those from our city who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Let us remember James Newton, Robert Noble, William Nunn,
George Coburn, Morrison Cotner, Donald Craw,
Warren Sapp, Clarence Schiebler, William Schoolcraft.
The memorial program includes the reading of all 146 names on the wall, including those we lost in World War I, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The program also remembers Jerry Ronan, a past Torrance Historical Society board member and a World War II veteran who started the Names on the Wall project. He was 95 years old when he passed away in 2021. Ronan was noted for saying, quote, "On Monday, we will be grateful for the gift of those who never came home. We will remember every day is Memorial Day. We will pray that we never add another name to that cold black wall." The Names on the Wall project that Ronan created is an effort to go beyond just knowing the names of those who died while serving our country. A small group of volunteers at the Torrance Historical Society are putting in countless hours of their time in search of a face and a story behind each of the 146 names on the Veterans Memorial Wall. They've uncovered stories such as these. Floyd Fay Ramsey was born in 1917 and lived with his parents on 231st Street. He worked at a steel company in Torrance before registering for the draft. Ramsey was inducted into the Army in 1941 as a pilot. He went overseas, flying over North Africa, Sicily, and Southern Europe. In 1943, Ramsey's plane failed to return from a mission over Germany, and he was later declared killed in action by the War Department. He was 26 years old. John Fest Jr., who attended Torrance High School decades ago, was killed in action at Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. He became the first serviceman from Torrance to be killed during World War II. He was 21 years old. Michael Henry Kessel enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in 1965 at the age of 18. The following year, on September 3rd, his vehicle struck a landmine in the Quang Nam province of Vietnam. He was among several Marines who were killed in the explosion that day. He was 19 years old and had been planning to return home in just a few days. Kessel was awarded the Purple Heart, and a requiem mass was held for him at a church in Torrance. Shortly before he left for Vietnam, he wrote in part, quote, "Freedom is a heritage, not a right, and will remain so as long as we patriotic citizens are alive." 3 volunteers worked together under the leadership of Michelle Polcari, the president of the Torrance Historical Society, to let us know about these individuals. They dug through old yearbooks and newspaper clippings to make sure more names on the Veterans Wall got the recognition they deserved. Former City Manager Leroy Jackson, former Council Member Kurt Witteman, and the Vice Chair of the Torrance Library Commission, Dennis Piotrowski. Thank you so much for volunteering your time to honor our veterans in this special way. If you want to join them and help uncover more stories, call the Torrance Historical Society and Museum at 310-328-5392. Memorial Day can be a very difficult day for many families who are missing their loved ones. The Cohen Veterans Network reminds us that while some of us are able to enjoy a long weekend hosting parties or taking part in other festivities, it's also important to note why we are able to observe this holiday. The clinic has a toolkit for us to better understand the true meaning of Memorial Day and also provides resources and ideas on how we can better support those around us. We shared a couple of tips on Thursday's show, and here are some more. Be available. Sometimes people who are grieving find support in company without expectations. Just let them know that you are available to talk or just be by their side. And recognize that grief is not linear. It can look different day to day, month to month, and year to year. So remind those you love that it's okay to feel moments of joy sometimes and that it's not undermining their feelings of loss. Both can be possible, and they should not feel guilt or shame for being able to enjoy simple moments after a tragedy. The Cohen Veterans Network recently expanded to Torrance, providing mental health care to veterans, service members, and their families. To learn more, go to cohenveteransnetwork.org. The city's in-person celebration for Armed Forces Day took place just over a week ago after a 3-year hiatus.
My father was Airman First Class Alfred Valero, and he served in the Korean War, so coming here was really exciting for me, hearing that it was going to be affiliated with the Air Force today.
I served my country prior to my employment with the City of Torrance, so I'm proud to be an employee and a veteran and celebrate this parade and the recognition of all the veterans that have served in this country.
My dad was a veteran. My husband's a veteran. It's something that, it's very patriotic. I do enjoy it.
The 61st Annual Armed Forces Day Parade and Celebration brought an estimated 100,000 people to Torrance over a 3-day period. We are preparing a comprehensive recap for upcoming episodes of Weekends in Torrance, and the complete replays of the concert featuring the United States Air Force Band of the Golden West and the parade, with more than 40 entries highlighting all branches of the U.S. military, are available now. Just go to youtube.com/Torrance City Cable. City Hall, city offices, and all Torrance libraries are closed today in observance of Memorial Day. Refuse and recycling scheduled for pickup today will be collected tomorrow, May 30th, and normal street sweeping will return tomorrow as well. Well, still ahead, take a look back at a 3-generation military family we introduced you to last year and find out what recognition this story just received from a national organization when we come back in 60 seconds.
How you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna. Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. And this place that I call home.
At the end of every episode of Torrance Today, we want to share a positive story that fits the theme for the day. On this Memorial Monday, we want to reintroduce you to the Iguchi family, who, for the first time in city history, honored 3 generations of military heroes through our banner recognition program.
I'm so proud to be able to see their banners up on Torrance Boulevard in the city where all of us grew up in.
Stacy Toju says she and her husband Justin sponsored these banners because it's important for their family to preserve their legacies.
Growing up as a Japanese American, especially here in Torrance where there are so many Asian Americans, it's a story that we all know and we all grew up with, but I think a lot of people aren't familiar with it. During World War II, Japan was considered the enemy of the United States. So a lot of my relatives, my grandparents, they were all interned in camps, and they had the option to stay in camp or to volunteer to serve. And so a lot of them did. They wanted to prove their loyalty, they wanted to prove their patriotism, so they enlisted and they had their own segregated unit.
That segregated unit was called the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, an Army unit made up of Japanese Americans from Hawaii and the mainland U.S. This is where the Iguchi's military lineage began.
My grandfather, Kazumi Eguchi, he was in the Army and he served during the Korean War, which inspired my uncle, David Eguchi, to serve in the Navy. And he was a military Navy man. He was in active duty and the reserves for almost 25 years. And because of his service, he inspired his son, my cousin Chris Eguchi, to serve as well. So he's currently at the U.S. Naval Academy in Maryland. My uncle Dave got to swear in his son, and it was a very emotional moment for us all, and we're so proud of Chris, and we can't wait to see, how his career goes.
Chris, David, and Kazumi Iguchi represent the three categories of military heroes that the city features through its banner recognition program: those who are currently serving in the armed forces, veterans who have served in the past, and veterans who have passed away. Stacy says her grandfather's generation is starting to fade away, and she joined the board of a nonprofit called Go for Broke National Education Center to keep their stories alive.
Right now, all of the surviving Nisei vets, the youngest ones are in their early 90s, and the oldest ones are about 105. And there's a lot of them. Japanese Americans live forever. But, realistically, we know that they'll only have so much more time left with us, and that finite time is coming to an end. So we're trying to learn as much as possible, to document as much as possible.
Stacy shares many pictures, including this, her favorite family photo, where they all wore matching shirts in memory of her grandfather when he passed away at the age of 86.
It's really inspiring all the generations. So, I'm sure we'll have future generations of of armed forces as well.
She says participating in the city's banner program gave her the opportunity to dig deeper into her roots and appreciate her family even more.
So it really is a good way to learn more about what your family has done, the service that they've provided, and to appreciate the fact that they did come home. And it also helps me, empathize with all of the other military families with, soldiers who are in combat right now. There's this phrase in Japanese, and it's okage sama de, and it means because of you, I am. And that's a phrase we always use in my family and with Go for Broke as well, because really, we're here because of them.
Earlier this month, we found out that this story won the Underserved Voices Award from the Foundation for the Alliance for Community Media. A portion of the video will play in front of a national audience at the Hometown Media Awards ceremony next month in Brooklyn, New York. May is also Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, and we appreciate the recognition for our work and for our efforts to highlight the diversity of Torrance. As we close out our show during Military Appreciation Month, we are saying thank you to our local heroes. Today, we salute Lieutenant Ronald Harris with the Torrance Police Department. I met him just a few days ago regarding another story, and he graciously shared a little bit about his military background with us, including how it translates to his job now.
Well, I had the pleasure of serving in the United States Army between 1998 and 2004. I ended up as a corporal, and I worked various details during my military career. I was able to work in military intelligence, and I also served as an Army recruiter. I was fortunate enough to be stationed in Europe in various countries and interacting with the people there, and it was a great experience. When I was in the military, it was all about service and serving our nation as a whole. And it's very similar now. I get to directly serve the City of Torrance, the community, and it's definitely a pleasure to do that.
Thank you for your service, Lieutenant Harris. Now, do you know someone in our community that we can honor in this way? Please send us a name, a picture, and a little bit of information about them to Torrance Today at torranceca.gov. That's our show for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more news from and for our Torrance community. Have a good day.